I hope you've watched the first episode of YashaHime. If so, strap in and get ready. I'm about to cover what I think happened to Kagome. Hey guys, I'm Megan, and this is the Fangirl, where you all have been begging me to cover the sequel to Inuyasha since it was announced. And usually I won't cover a show before the end of its season, but this is like a special occasion. So let's dive in. First things first, if you haven't seen episode 1 of YashaHime yet, it is on Crunchyroll, Hulu, and probably some other places too. You don't have to watch that first to follow along here, but anime fans tend to be the biggest, "Oh my god, you gave a spoiler," people on the planet. Like, yeah, brah, why don't you take some personal accountability here, because you clicked on this, you decided you wanted to hear this, knowing that you haven't watched the show yet, so that's on you. I'm not taking the blame for that. Anyways, the super brief refresher of Inuyasha is that the half-demon, half-human dude Inuyasha travels around the feudal era of Japan with a lecherous priest Moroku, a kick-butt demon slayer Sango, and the reincarnation of his ex-girlfriend Kagome, who managed to come to the past from 90s Tokyo. Along the way, Kagome and Inuyasha fall in love, and the original story arc ends with Kagome going home to finish school, and then returning to stay with Inuyasha in the past, like forever done deal. I'm with you, buddy. Also, Moroku and Sango got together and managed to pop out 3 kids during the 3 years that Kagome was gone, so they were busy. There's also a cutie fox demon cub Shippo, but he tends to be more comic relief than relevant to the plot, so I kind of forget about him sometimes. But fast forward to YashaHime. It's about a girl who we can probably safely assume is Inuyasha's daughter and her 2 cousins. And the thing about YashaHime that absolutely terrifies me is the lack of Kagome in the opening art. Kagome's in the opening episode, but that episode is mostly a flashback to cover the demon Roothead. I assume, since we spent so much time with Roothead in the first episode, that he's going to be the crux of what happened to Kagome. Now, Kagome was able to time travel thanks to the Bone Eater's Well, which served as a portal to those strong enough to use it. But that well resided in the same forest as the Tree of Ages, and it's heavily implied that that tree is what allows the time travel stuff, not the well itself. So Sango, Moroku, Kagome, and Inuyasha face off against Roothead, and he is a particularly difficult foe because he can regenerate these puppet bodies very quickly. But they believe they defeated him after Inuyasha sends most of it through a black hole, and then Kagome purifies the ground its roots were in. However, we're shown that's not accurate. They missed a piece of Roothead, and it begins to regrow, showing us a small chip in the Tree of Ages. Now, at first, I thought that chip might be the arrow hole from when Inuyasha was pinned to a tree. However, that's called the Sacred Tree, not the Tree of Ages, so I'm pretty sure these are different things. Although, full disclosure, I am used to watching the original series dubbed, and we all know that when it goes to English, they change a lot of names a lot of the time. Meaning, I'm really not sure if that's right or not. But overall, there's a few scenarios that could have happened here. With the bulk of Roothead defeated, the small sprig that remained might have needed several years to get back to a decent size. Let's just assume that's the case for now. Demons do have really long lives, and they're rarely ever in a hurry to do anything. So Roothead probably just infested the Tree of Ages silently for a long chunk of time. However, when you're growing like a parasite inside of another living thing, eventually something's gotta give. In this case, I could see the Tree of Ages crumbling. Now, if that were to happen, how would that affect people who have time traveled? Well, I'd imagine the Bone Eater's Well is gonna stop working. They reference as much in the first episode of YashaHime, and we really have no idea if Kagome still goes back and forth to the present. She might want to visit her family or get supplies, and the baby wouldn't be strong enough to go back and forth with them. So realistically, the tree could have broken while Kagome and Inuyasha were in the future, and then neither one of them could get back home. And the official description of the character who has to be Inuyasha's daughter says that she barely ever knew her parents. So the Tree of Ages dying and keeping Inuyasha and Kagome trapped in the present with no way to get to their daughter sounds plausible. But there's also a problem with this idea. We know that one of Sesshomaru's twins gets trapped in the future, and supposedly Kagome's brother Sota is going to take care of her until she just randomly reappears in the feudal era one day. And I would assume that if Kagome and Inuyasha were trapped in the present, they would have been significantly involved with the twins' life too. And just to be clear, these characters are still really new to me, so I don't want to try their names yet, but I think the time-traveling twin was Setsuna? And maybe the thing with Sota isn't relevant because Kagome and Inuyasha just aren't told to us that they're there yet so that it doesn't spoil things. It's very possible that the show is trying to put up a little bit of a veil so that we don't know exactly what's going to happen or what happened with Inuyasha and Kagome. But if Inuyasha and Kagome aren't together in Kagome's time, then that leads us to scenario 2. Is it possible that the death of the Tree of Ages ripped Kagome back to her own time? I mean, yeah, totally. If we consider that the Tree of Ages is so close to the village that Kagome and co live in, then it's completely probable that the death of that tree sent like a shockwave of energy that did all sorts of unpredictable things. So Kagome could have been sent anywhere in time, along with Setsuna being blasted through time and who knows who else. We have not yet seen a present-day Moroku, Sango, or their daughters, but we have seen a few glimpses of a character who looks like their son as a teenager, and he's being led by Kohaku, which is Sango's brother. And if Kagome did just go missing through time one day, I could see Inuyasha tirelessly trying to hunt her down, even if that meant leaving his own child in someone else's care. There's also a possibility that the 3 main girls of the series were sent back in time, and that's why they're disassociated with their families. But I do kind of doubt that's the case. The 4-eyed owl demon, Yotsume, mentioned that the story he knew about Kagome was over a decade old. Not to mention that deteriorated bicycle seat would be pretty hard to forge. But how neat could it be if Inuyasha met his daughters and nieces when they were all roughly the same age? Oh, the personality flares would be excellent, so fun to watch. No matter what the real answer ends up being though, I don't think Kagome is going to be dead. She is too smart and gotten through so many scrapes that it would be utterly unforgivable if they killed her off screen in such an unceremonious way. Plus, had Kagome died, that would mean that Inuyasha would have likely died with her. He's always right on top of her, so if she was in danger, he was in danger. However, we know that's not the case. We know Inuyasha isn't dead because he is shown in the poster for the series, and he's just staring at the Tree of Ages like he has a code to crack. Plus, if Kagome was dead, then Inuyasha would have no reason to not be at his daughter's side. Even if demons don't make the best of parents, I mean, Inuyasha is still pretty sensitive about how he was left alone in the world. So I don't see him just bailing on his daughter unless he was really focused on doing something else very important. So yeah, overall, I do really believe that Kagome had to be thrown to a different time. It just probably wasn't her own. And I really hope that they get to reunite with Kagome by the end of the season because I need answers. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey Megan, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share 1 or 2 on social media, help spread the word. episode. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members. Bye.